Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gelvin Valley, where we are in harvest, trying to bring in the crop here on field number 18. We've made a sizable dent in it so far, and still just enjoying the stuffing out of this wonderful map prepared by Wild Wes. Probably need to get our tractor going over here. I don't recall how much. Oh, he's gonna go. Well, no, he's gonna turn around. He's thinking about it. He has 27 liters. I'm thinking. I'm thinking I probably need to bring some fuel up here. So let's just get the job done, because we know we're gonna need some up here eventually. Get out the. Oop, that was close. Go by our stream over here. I'm kind of liking the new graphics we put on it. Now we'll drive down through it. Does that look any more realistic than what we had? Yeah, if it wasn't for that silly line in there, maybe it would be. Just a hop skip over to the other side of the valley, and we'll fuel back up and keep our machinery going. Get tucked under the tree. One of these days I need to get a doggone chainsaw so I can cut that down and take care of some maintenance around here. There. Here's our field. Actually, we'll just head up this way. It's not quite as steep as the other way is. Well, hope everybody is having a wonderful day wherever you're at. I remember the rant I went on in the last video that we had, so I'll try to avoid doing that this time. Always interesting what life throws at you. I know tonight in our family, we got a WhatsApp group, if you will. One of my brothers and sister-in-law. Oh, good, he stopped. We'll just fuel him up here. One of my brothers and sister-in-law had a scare this evening with their youngest daughter. Turn it off higher. Good. Here we go. Apparently they were playing out, I don't know if it's in their garage. Most of us know a garage for standard home has concrete floor in it, very smooth, a little slippery. I'm not sure what all they had out there. I think there was a swing or something. And however it happened, their youngest daughter did a face plant right on the concrete. And she's just a little thing. What is wrong with this thing? How come it doesn't fill all the way up? Anyway, alright, let's put it back. Oh, I know what's going on. It's at an IC control. There we go. That's why I can't do anything. Alright, so let me get our equipment out of the road. Actually, that other tractor may have need for fuel too. We shall see. You're full. This tractor, yeah, will go offload. Probably needs to take a slurp too. Now, this happens to be my youngest brother. I grew up in a family with 6 siblings. There were 5 of us boys first, and then mom and dad had 2 girls. I was the oldest, and now, my youngest brother and his wife, their children are quite a bit younger than ours. And this happens, and, it gives me the shakes. Number one, this is my little niece we're talking about out here. And, anytime there's an injury to the head, it's can be a pretty serious thing, of course. And so, we hope it's okay. She's okay. But the reality is a lot of times the kids tend to be more resilient and they heal from a trauma like that even quicker than mom and dad will. And the things that run through your mind as a parent, even though everybody says, stuff happens, maybe there was nothing to prevent it, or maybe there was. Parents screw up too. I mean, I've had my share of bloopers, and a lot of times instances like this make me think of, the times in my own life when I've screwed something up, with one of my kids and hurt them in some way. And I don't know, I suppose all of us have different levels of sensitivity to when a child is hurting. And, I remember my mom, I'm not going to say she was just a hard person, but she was a nurse, and, with 5 to 7 kids, 5 boys first, we were always getting banged up, on something. I don't know if she just got hardened over the years. One of my brothers, I remember, collapsed on a bike heading downhill and crashed the thing on asphalt, and I think ended up in the ditch. And to her, I'm not going to say it didn't get her adrenaline going, but she had a toughness to it that maybe a mom, that's experienced, or a parent rather, that has experienced a ton of that over time, you just get a little more thicker skin to it. And I don't know, for me, I guess I would probably call myself a wimp. Maybe I internalize it, I don't know. But especially when you're the one that has unintentionally harmed or hurt an innocent, I mean, there's hardly no greater feeling of wretchedness that a person can have, is when that happens. It's like, it's on my watch, and I try to be careful if here I harm someone who, just a little chirp, can't defend themselves, someone who is depending on me, and I screwed up and they got hurt. And that really, really sucks. And so I can just imagine, what, I think it was my sister-in-law was out there with the kids, when this happened. I don't know if she was involved in it in some, I just don't know those details, but I know as a parent, I'm well acquainted with, the mind games that can happen as you second guess what you did, in the moment. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things, where you can pick up a little kid and swing them around by holding their arms. And, centrifugal force and all that, and they love it, and they're like, wee, and I mean, it's fun to them. But my goodness, if you ever let go of them and they end up in a heap, I mean, that'd be terrible. And, and you just obviously would second guess what you did, as it maybe being a stupid blunder and all that. And so I really feel for her in particular, because she was there when it happened, and I guess my brother was working downstairs, and there was quite a commotion in the house when this happened. And I know she told me that, it was a head wound in the teeth, and in the mouth. And I know the mouth can bleed profusely, anywhere on the head can bleed quite a lot. And so just a ton of blood. I think they said it took 2 hours for the bleeding to stop, which just blows my mind. I mean, I think of this little girl, what is she now? I probably shouldn't even say. I probably shouldn't say. I think she's in kindergarten, right? So that would make her 5 years old, I believe. Yeah, hopefully my sister-in-law and brother don't ever listen to this and say, I wonder what I'm smoking, because I can't even tell what her age is. I think she's 5. So just a little chirp, and you think, it's like, how could she bleed for 2 hours? It's like she wouldn't even have any blood left. Of course, I'm envisioning some massive outpouring of blood, and so it must not have been that kind of a bleed, but still, pretty worrying when it's something to the head. And we all try to take care of, we try to take care of the thing at the top that sits on our shoulders and does everything in our life that we need it to. And so So yeah, I mean, they showed a picture in the WhatsApp of her, and she does look a little banged up, but she's still as cute as she ever was, and even smiling a little bit. Although you can tell this really took a lot of wind out of her sails. She's a very busy young little lady, and so I imagine this is going to slow her down for at least a day or two. But pretty traumatic, and of course they had to go take a visit to the local emergency room and go through all that hoopla and the stress of getting in there. And I think they're home now, and it's as I record this, what are we, almost 11 p.m. at night. Oh, is it having trouble finding a combine? Auto search, Badink. Oh yeah, just keep going. Oh, come on. There you go. There you go. Jump, jump, jump up the hill. Yeah, this is one unrealistic part of courseplay back in this particular era. I think in later eras they did a little better and had a little bit more in the air so you could go around the affected area, but now even as I say that, I realize maybe they didn't have it totally perfect. Maybe while he's emptying the combine, I could take this home, because he's got at least one load. Maybe we'll go down the other side of the field this time. I never know exactly who all listens to, these silly videos I put out. Just what age group it is. I'm getting to be a geezer, so I assume it's maybe people similar to my vintage. But I guess I really don't know. But I assume somebody here has children and has been through that as a parent. And later. And like I say, I realize there's different sensitivities to this. I'm a thinker type person, so, a lot of times when something like this happens, I will act and do something in the moment. There will be the trauma, the stress, and we deal with it. And it's later when I'm sitting in a chair and doing other stuff that I replay it in my mind just over and over. And that's when it really starts hurting and I start getting the jitters. A lot of times it isn't even so much in the moment, which I suppose is a good thing. Maybe the way the body is designed, when there's a true emergency, maybe a person is able to just kind of shut some of that off. I mean, you have to if you're going to deal with a problem like your kid is bleeding from every hole. Obviously, you can't be frozen or have to sit there and think about it. So I guess oh my, that was close. Almost nicked the shed. I guess I'm thankful for that. But I do know, I mean, there is a lot of pain later in thinking through it. But maybe others are able to pass over that. I don't know. But this instance here too, makes me think of, a number of times. See, how's our combine doing? Makes me think of some of the times, when I screwed up, and maybe it makes you think of that too if you're a parent. And one of them that comes immediately to mind for me is, my wife and I, we had 4 children, 2 girls first, then 2 boys. And we were on our second child and had her home. Whoop, we're in the way. Boy, we had her home just a handful of days, so we're talking fresh out of the hatch. And it was my turn to change her stinky diaper, whatever I was doing, and she was on a changing table, and the little squirt fell off. I don't know what I was doing, why I wasn't there, but she fell off right down onto a hardwood floor. We had no carpet, we had no nothing in there, and here our little baby brand new newborn falls off the changing table onto the hardwood floor. And of course, with a little baby, it's I would say that the reaction sometimes is comical in one way, because I mean, you just know something's coming, when there's a sharp intake of breath, and it's like they're trying to catch their breath, and there's like this delayed reaction, and then they let you have it, and you are practically seeing their shoelaces, through their mouth as their little tongue is wagging, and they're just bellowing to beat the band. But it's like they have to suck in a lot of air or something before they're able to do that. That part's a little amusing to me, just how, a little child like that. But of course, the pain or whatever that brought that about is not funny at all. And I just remember when that happened, just feeling so devastated as a dad, as a man, to let a little girl, my precious little child, fall onto the floor like that. It's like, how could you? But it did. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I screwed up, and I failed her. And hearing her every cry took a long time for her to calm down. I'm sure my wife came flying into the room to see what the matter was. And by that time, I think I was crying as much as our little girl. It's just when you... What do you do when you hurt an innocent? You didn't intend to, but you hurt them nonetheless. And they're so small, you can't tell them, I'm sorry. I'm sure that's exactly what I was telling her, but she doesn't know. And nor does she know that I did it to her, of course. All she knows is she's hurting, and she doesn't know why. But it's just a terrible, terrible feeling as a parent, and to feel that, and sometimes it's amazing how quick the kids bounce back. Fortunately, in the case of our daughter, she wasn't hurt. There was no broken bones. Maybe because she was brand new and some of the bones hadn't totally formed fully yet. I don't know how that works. But maybe that was a blessing in disguise, whereas if I fell 3 feet cold, off of a platform like that, I'd probably have some real damage done. Let me go to my combine here. I'm just going to take it off higher and finish this manually. There we go. Yeah, that's so interesting that it shows 0 in the fill level when we are on the header. I almost wonder if there's a mod in here that's interfering with that. So I know that's one major blooper I made, and I still look back on that with regret. I mean, although there's nothing I can do about it, of course. It's one of those things. Oops. I need to drop my header. There we go. Finish up this section, and we'll head down over the hill now that we have the top piece done. Oh, here's spreading straw over grazing. So how about you? I know we are not the only parents who have made mistakes and screwed up, and you just hope you make it through life without making too many mess ups that someone gets harmed, but it's practically inevitable that something is going to happen. I mean, it's just the way life goes. I'd be curious what your mistakes are that you look back on and you're just thankful it didn't turn out worse and it did, or maybe it did, in which case I'm even all the more sorry. It's a person can look back on mistakes, and that is certainly one thing, but there are some mistakes that are permanent, and you maybe didn't intend it, but that's kind of the end result, something that happens, and maybe there's deaths or permanent injury, and other horrible things, and I guess I should be thankful, you know, we didn't at least have some of those. I know for my wife, I think something that comes to mind is, you know, this was, I think, on her oldest son. You know, they make all this equipment to take care of kids, of course, and he was in a baby carrier thing. One of those, I think, that snaps into a car seat. You know, some of those are pretty handy. Well, somehow he wasn't totally belted in or whatever, and she was carrying him, and he flopped out. And I think he also did a face plant, probably onto some. Oh my goodness! Why? What are you doing? He just like made a beeline for the fence post. It's like, why would you go over here? Oh, he's looking for. Oh, that's what it is. First waypoint. There is something up with this. This used to work way better. I just have to figure out what is going haywire. Maybe I'll find it, maybe I won't. And this doesn't count, you know, this same son, by the way. I don't know if he's just more accident prone or was more accident prone as a kid. Twice he attempted to drown himself, or well, maybe that's true only once. I was out of town on business. This has been years ago. He was probably 2 to 3 years old, and he's, what is he now? 20? Has he reached 20? My goodness. Okay, so that'd be like 17, 18 years ago. Man, time flies. But I was out of town on business, and my wife and a couple of the kids at least came along with her, and we were at a hotel. And in the evenings, you know, she liked to take the kids down and, you know, to the pool. And she wasn't swimming with them this particular time. I think she was just down there, maybe with my business partner was with me. We were both up there. He had his wife there too, maybe a kid or two. I don't recall. But anyway, they were down there talking or whatever they were doing. Well, my son wanders over to the hot tub area and just walks right in. And I mean, 2 years old, there was nobody there. He promptly face plants, you know, right in the water, and he can't swim or nothing. Well, my business partner happened to be standing down there, and he saw it happen, and he was dressed in slacks and button-down shirt and nice shoes and everything. And you know, I really feel grateful to him. He didn't let that stop him. He went right into the hot tub with my son and pulled him out. You know, and you know, no muss, no fuss. But it's like, what if somebody isn't there to pick a kid up? You know, when a mistake or a bad thing like that happens. You know, this was the first of 2 times that he did it. The second time, he didn't do it on his own. There was my brother had a pool at the time, and there was a family gathering over at his home, and several of the kids were sitting on the deck that he had around his pool, and there was parents there and everything too. But one of his cousins just hauled back and pushed him in the pool. And again, at 2 years old, he couldn't swim any better then than he could up at this hotel. So I think that one was maybe my wife's, one of her friends, also fully clothed, not prepared to be in the water, no swimsuit on or nothing, you know, just in her street clothes, barrels into the water, you know, to fish him out. It's like, my goodness, kid, you know, we'll be lucky to get you to the age of majority if you keep this up. But, you know, in those instances, you know, I didn't happen to be around there. You know, if you're a parent or an adult supposed to be watching these kids, you know, and something like that happens, it's just, I don't know. Like I say, I know there's different levels of sensitivity, but the tendency of a person to beat themselves up over it, or, you know, to keep reliving the experience, at least for me, you know, is pretty easy to do. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, I know there's always something that seems to happen, and you know, I'm talking physical things here at the moment. You know, I suppose, well, how do you even call this? There is always issues between parents and kids in the best of circumstances. They're just hard. It's part of raising a kid and bringing them up. You know, they're when they're little kids, okay, little people, little problems. You know, they say, and then when they become teenagers and the whole dynamic just changes. And so there's always issues there in a family that parents and kids need to work through. Anybody listening to this, I don't care how old you are, knows kind of what that dynamic is and having to relate to someone that's in authority for you and what that feels like, maybe to chafe against it or, you know, gaining more responsibility, dealing with a sense of entitlement, you know, when you're not the one paying the bills, but mom and dad are just supposed to support you in every wacko whim that you may have, and you don't necessarily understand the consequences, and they might. Anyway, people are going to understand that dynamic, I think. And there are, just like there's different levels of sensitivity in a person for, you know, maybe how they would replay events in their mind, you know, so I suppose there are different levels of sensitivity and when it comes to interacting with your kids. And I'm sure I'm not the only parent that as you look back on the day and you replay some of those interactions you had with your child, and I mean, it wouldn't even be just your child. You know, it could be your spouse, it could be someone at work, and it's like, you know, I could have been kinder when I talked about this certain subject, or, oh, good grief. Oh, he wants to go to the waypoint. Why don't you just go to the tunnel line? How about that? I am almost positive this used to work better. So now I'm wondering if I wonder if I have a mod in here that is somehow, some way messing with this a little bit. But yeah, just don't know. What is current waypoint? Probably gonna turn him to. No, don't ram. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, he's right now, gravity's taking him down the hill. Stop, you bozo. There we go. What are you doing? Okay. It's gonna head out the gate. I'm just gonna turn him around. Oh, except that's a hard sign. So like I was saying, I know I'm not the only parent that has second-guessed it. You know, even those other interactions that aren't physical, they don't involve any bumps and bruises or anything like that. It's more psychological. And, oops, you know, I don't consider myself really even a very good parent, you know, when it comes right down to it. Come on, you bozo. What do we gotta do here? Help me out. Can you just go to the end here? Do you have a combine? No, you don't have a combine set. First, current. Here, try that. Wow. I am baffled. Oh, gee. Okay, maybe let's try first. Maybe some of it is how I have these points situated coming in and out of the field. It could be... How about this? Wow. This is just one uphill. Alright, we're going to take you up the hill. Because pretty soon this combine's going to need to offload. So I guess I'm going to have to do it manually. And yes, Russell, I hear you laughing at me, messing about with courseplay. I'm a glutton for punishment. But anyway, sometimes on those other interactions, like I started saying, I don't consider myself a very good parent, mainly because, you know, there's things about the human interaction that I know I have blind spots, and maybe everybody does. But, you know, it is something I wonder about sometimes, you know, whether the way I've handled certain situations, you know, with the kids sometimes, you know, have I caused them damage? Again, not on purpose, but maybe hasn't, you know, fully met their needs or hasn't been handled in a way that is healthy. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say. I guess the only point I'm trying to say is just to acknowledge that not all damage, you know, that can be done to a kid by a parent, even inadvertently, not all of that is just physical. What are you doing? Oh. This is testing my patience. Alright, so you really, really want to go empty it, so I'm gonna... Yeah, there you go. Head off. Go do your thing. Knock yourself out. Anyways, we all heard the bell ring. I'll quit musing over this particular subject. It just was fresh on my mind with my little niece having an accident tonight and hurting herself pretty bad. So I'm hoping to see her here soon and hope I find her trying to smile at least. Thank you all for coming along here for the trip on Gelvin Valley. Our harvest is taking a while. We are slowly making a dent in our negative cash, and hopefully we get out of the hole soon. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one.